Let us see in the first part the movement itself, and in the second part we will see some details that characterize the different moments of the maneuver. Once the preparation actions are completed, the transfer can be performed. The patient is assisted in standing up by bending him forward, thus taking away body weight from the pelvis. This favors the push of the lower limbs, and the patient will be sensing a much lesser effort in standing up comparing with the same movement performed with the shoulders over the pelvis. The health worker then gives the patient a signal to stand up. It is important that the patient does not pull the health worker toward himself, but rather that he pushes him away. If the health worker feels the patient pulling, he has to discourage the movement, not allowing him to stand up. Once the pelvis is lifted from the cushion, the patient has to be aligned with the new surface. This can be achieved with two different modalities, small steps or making the patient pivot on the tiptoes. The sitting movement has to be performed respecting the same principles that as before, and it has to be performed with the duration double respect to the standing up movement. Once the patient is in sitting position, he has to be stabilized by lightly pushing him down with an arm placed over the shoulders. The transfer movement can be divided in four different phases. 1. Accelerative phase is the one during which the inertial force has to be overcome. 2. Lifting phase. 3. Transport phase from the starting point to the destination point. 4. Lowering phase. During the accelerative phase, the earth worker prepares his whole body to sustain an extra load by contracting the abdominal and dorsal muscles. In the same time, the patient starts the movement bringing his shoulders forward, and to make this possible, it is necessary to avoid that the patient pulls instead of pushing, and that the earth worker pulls the patient abruptly toward him. Small lumbar movements toward inconstant directions are observed at the beginning of the lifting phase. Soon after, the real extension movement of the entire vertebral column is performed. In this moment, the patient starts extending the lower limbs. During the lifting phase, the knee extension is associated with the vertebral column extension. During this transport phase, the patient body weight is not loaded on the earth worker back, but on his lower limbs. During the lower phase, it is necessary for the earth worker to stabilize the patient by propping up the latter with both knees.